Hello YouTube, Scamp the Wolf here, back with another video for your viewing pleasure. And today is going to be an album review, the new Stained album, Confessions of the Fallen. Um, and I'm just going to say, the first thing I'm going to say that this is a good record, I think. It is certainly their best since either Chapter V or Break the Cycle. Either one of those albums. And honestly, I'm more like I used to be huge on Stain, like when I was um, back in the day, like when I was getting into rock and metal. So I mean, I figured I had to check this out for that reason. But also, like, I used to be big on them, but now I'm kind of just like they're good. I think like they're good enough, and part of that has to do with the frontman Aaron Lewis's like antics over the years since like 2019, I guess. That kind of has softened my fandom a little bit for this band, but I do still like some of their stuff. I do still enjoy it. I do still think there's a lot to offer. Their um, albums like Dysfunction and Break the Cycle, those are their two best, and I think that there's like other albums that are good too, as well. And their Chapter V I think is all right, but it's really like their other stuff that is just like very mid to me, like 14 Shades of Grey, for example. Like after I saw Rock's video on it, like I really kind of just like saw the album for really what it was, which is that it had a lot of filler, that it had a lot of like bulk to it, like too much. And also, like, the lyric writing wasn't anything great on that album. But there were still some okay songs on the album. And, you know, like albums like Illusion of Progress and the self-titled, I was really not big on as, like, even, like, when I was checking State Out, I wasn't particularly big on those albums. There were tracks on them that I liked, but there's also tracks that, like, I didn't like on them. And some of those, in the case of Illusion of Progress, it was just kind of, again, kind of like excess, kind of. It wasn't really like too interesting of an album to me. So, Confessions of the Fallen, like running 10 tracks, about 35 minutes in length. Um, you gotta remember, Stain's last album was also 10 tracks long. That was 12 years ago. Right now, this is 12 tracks in length. Not 12 tracks. I mean, 12 tracks if you... Apparently there's a deluxe edition or something that has 12 tracks. But this standard edition here has 10. So, like, you get 10 tracks with this album as it is. So, yeah, like I said, I didn't want to, like, do a whole thing where it was like, okay, so what do I think of it? It's good. I didn't want to do, like, a lead-up. I kind of wanted to just say right off the bat that this is a good album. And yeah, it feels like, I mean, like there's some issues with it. I would want to address those first. Like some moments feel auto-tuned a bit, like on this album. Like Aaron Lewis's vocals kind of feel auto-tuned. There are some good moments with his vocals. There's some where it's like, okay, whatever. Um, but I mean, and also, like at 35 minutes, this album kind of runs very fast, and some tracks don't really have like staying power, like for the future, if that makes sense. Like some tracks are just kind of just like yeah, they're good, and then they just kind of like I can see them really losing momentum as far as like their like appeal is concerned, like as time goes on, once the new album smell wears off on this album. But you know, like as it is, I do think that like there is some good stuff. There's some genuinely good stuff on this album. Like the first two singles, Lowest in Me, and Cycle of Hurting. I was surprised that these were actually not that bad of singles. Like, to be honest, like, and maybe it's because I am softer, or I am a bit more kinder to this new metal style. Like, I know, like, new metal is not really loved by a lot of people, but it is coming back, and like, apparently it is gaining interest by younger generation, which is nice. And also, like, these two songs, I feel like are very well tailored on this album, especially "Cycle of Hurting." I think that one's pretty good. Um, Same thing with was any of it real? That one kind of has like a combination between like more electronic based kind of like verses, and then the choruses, which are like guitar bass or whatever. Like, there's a lot of radio format as well on this album, on pretty much all the songs, to be honest, which is kind of like different for Stained. I like that they're trying different things, even though the radio format is kind of just like, I get it at this point. It's not that it's bad, just mid, but they make some good with it. I mean, like, they have like um Out of Time, which is a pretty good song as well. Also, Hate Me Too and the title track are also pretty solid as well. Um, you would think Hate Me Too wouldn't be that good of a song, but like, it really is just fine, I guess. But I don't know, I kind of enjoyed that track. Confessions of the Fallen, also the title track, also a pretty solid song, I think. And yeah, this album is pretty solid, I think. I mean, the ballads on here, not the best necessarily. Like, Here and Now and Better Days, I think they aren't really the best. They kind of feel like Aaron Lewis's solo career a little bit, in my honest opinion, because they have that acoustic thing or whatever. It's just like if Aaron Lewis's solo career collided with like Stain's like more rocky sound, and they had like the guitarist of Stain, or the other band members of the band, like, try to like, make be the backing band for Aaron Lewis's side project, his country music solo project. That, at least that's what Here and Now feels like. Better Days just feels straight off like a country song or whatever. Like, in the vocals, it kind of feels that way too. Like, as well, how they're produced, how they're mixed, and a lot of that stuff. I might add, this is produced by Eric Ron, I think. I believe that's who's produced this album, who has done stuff for Godsmack, which, I mean, like, Godsmack's music has not been great up to this point. He's also done stuff for Bush, that's been fine, and he's done stuff for Fire from the Gods, um, The Word Alive, which, again, not great band, but like, he's done a lot of metalcore and stuff. So it's interesting he's pivoting into like active rock, mainstream rock territory with bands like Bush, Godsmack, and now Stained. Like, no matter how the albums pan out, it's interesting that he's trying that out and doing a lot of stuff with that. And I think this is a good example of that. Clearly, I mean, like, there isn't too much detrimental to this album. I'm pretty sure there'll be some people that find something. I mean, this album is basically a love it or hate it album. If you don't like Stained, you probably won't like this album. You'll like think the writing is kind of off, and to be honest, the writing isn't great necessarily, but I do think it is serviceable. You'll either not like this album, or if you are a fan of Stain, you've been waiting for 12 years for this album, you will love this album. It will be one of your favorite albums of the year, for sure. Um, as for me, I'm just more casually into this album. So like, on that front, because I think it's a good album and I'm more casually into it. This is the perfect 7 album. So it's getting a 7 out of 10 from me. So that's basically what it is. So I mean, like, I kind of knew what to expect going in, and there you go. That's my rating for it. Pretty solid rating. I am confident in the rating, even though, like, it is new, so it could change. All my ratings are subject to change at any time. So if the 7 out of 10 doesn't stick, then hey, it's been a while. So kind of ironic, like the Stained song itself. It's been a while. It's been a while. It'll be a while. Whatever you want to say. What kind of conjunction of words you want to say about it. So yeah, that's basically it for this review. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below, which is of course right there. Look at the shadow. This is Scamp Wolf signing out. Take care.